just wanted to take a moment to discuss what exactly is going on with Nightwish. Now, I'm a little perplexed at what's going on with the music. So in 2015, they hire Floor Jansen, or 2014, they hire Floor Jansen to replace Annette Olsen. Okay, so the Olsen albums, I thought it had good material, but I didn't think they were good albums because her voice was never right for the band. So when they hired Jansen, she showed her range and what she could do vocally. I was like, okay, this is a good choice, and as I'm sure a lot of fans thought the same thing. Endless Form's Most Beautiful comes out in 2015, and it's a great album. Most of the songs are really, really good. The theme is a little bit different. They've moved on from the fantasy stuff, and it's a little bit more about Earth and nature and stuff. So, but the songs are still really good, powerful, well written, melodic, memorable, all that good stuff. So we fast forward a few years, and their last album, which I can't remember, I think it came out 2021, late 2021 or 2022. I honestly can't remember, but it was called Human to Nature, and I don't know what the hell that album was about. They said it was supposed to be a continuation of the themes on Endless Form's Most Beautiful, and I guess thematically it was, but the songs were so bloated and so slow, and I don't get it. I mean, Thomas Holopainen is one of the greatest songwriters that I've ever heard write music. In metal, in symphonic metal, and just in music in general. Him and Tobias Sammet kind of write those kind of songs, or write songs in a style that kind of goes beyond the threshold of the metal community. You know, like Disney could hire them and they could probably write really, really good songs for the fairy tale movies. That's what I've always thought. But anyway, I know Thomas is capable of writing great songs. He's been doing it for 20 years. And that last album, and I listened to it a few times, and it's 17 songs. Some of them go between 5 to 7 minutes. And it has maybe one good song. The Noise song that was a single, it was good, and there are like bits and pieces in other songs that are okay, or they have their moments, but they're sparse and they're brief and they last for like maybe 20 seconds or so. And overall, that album was just, I don't know what the hell happened. So I said, okay, maybe it was COVID, everybody was stressed out, they just didn't really go 100% into this. But now the new album gets announced, Yesterwind. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. I haven't actually heard any of the band members say the name. I've only read it in articles. I'm pretty sure that's the way you say it, Yesterwind. Anyway, I was like, okay, this has to be better, right? But so far, I don't know. The two singles that came out seems to be divided amongst the fan base. Some people think it's really good. Some people are wondering what the hell is going on, and I'm in the latter camp. I'm thoroughly wondering what the hell is going on, Nightwish. These songs are such a pivot from what they usually do. Like, it feels like they're writing songs and the metal is the afterthought. You know what I mean? It's like it's there and it's present so they can say, look, remember, we're a symphonic metal band, but it doesn't feel like it's fully integrated into the DNA of the songwriting the way that it has been for the last few decades. I mean, I don't know. I thought that the Perfume of the Timeless song was not very good. I thought it was overblown, and then the second song that just came out, the When the Day Comes, or the Day That Is, or whatever the hell it's called, I honestly can't remember because it was just so terrible. I don't get it. I know they can make better music than this, but it feels like all the power and the magic of it is gone. And I read an article that Thomas said that this album is thematically about human evolution and the the miracle that it must have took the odds of the universe for him and for us who are alive now to be standing here, living here, sitting here in this moment, because we had to have an ancestor, an ancestor, an ancestor, an ancestor who didn't get eaten by a dinosaur or some shit. Going back to the caveman days or whatever. You want to do themes like that, that's fine. Whatever. It's your project. But the music has lost all the luster, I feel. I feel like, and I can't believe I'm saying this about a symphonic metal band, but it feels pompous and pretentious. And I know that's odd because I listen to a lot of power metal and symphonic metal, and a lot of people would consider that to be bombastic and a little bit on that side of pretentiousness if you don't listen to that kind of metal. Now, I'm not saying it is, some of it is, but I don't think the stuff I listen to is. I look for more tasteful variation, but I digress. My point is, this feels grandiose without any meat behind it. It's like an empty orchestra, like hitting just barely one lackluster note, like half-assing it. All the power and everything that should make this a really good symphonic metal project is just missing, at least from these two singles. And based on the Human to Nature album, I just don't have high hopes that this is going in another direction. It just, I don't know. I could be wrong. The album could drop and maybe it has a lot of good songs and these two are just, you know, the odd man out. But it's not encouraging that Tomas recently told an article or interview or a magazine, something recently. I read an article a few weeks ago where he says that one of the songs, the chorus doesn't come in until after the 5-minute mark or some shit like that. And he's saying this to the interviewer like he's proud of that. That's not a good sign. That seems a little pretentious to me. Like, it's like you're already putting the idea out there that, look, we have extravagantly long songs. Look, it's so long that the chorus doesn't even come in until this unorthodox point in the song structure. It's a little narcissistic, and I don't know, it's pompous and pretentious because I don't think that should be the selling point. That just makes me think maybe they're resting on the idea that, look, we're making long songs and getting in that prog metal mindset, and that's the last thing I want Nightwish to be doing. Now, like I said, the Endless Form's Most Beautiful album from 2015, the first one with Floor, it did deal with nature and earth and the kind of themes that have been throughout the last three projects, at least vaguely. But the songs there were well written, they were powerful, they felt and sounded like symphonic metal songs. They weren't overly long. There was maybe one song on there that was excessive, but it worked because it was broken down into sections that sounded distinct. But the Human to Nature album just didn't have that kind of cohesiveness throughout the album. And like I said, from what I've heard from the two singles, the Perfume of the Timeless and the other one that just came out that I can't even bother to remember because it was so bad, I don't have high hopes. Now, I don't know what's going on with Nightwish. They've been dealt a couple of blows the last few years. I mean, it seems like when Flora came into the band in 2014, that everything was going good for a while. But then Marco left in January of 2020, I believe, after, 16, I think, 16 years or so in the band. He came in during right before the Century Child album. But anyway, the stable lineup that had always been the meat and potatoes of the band outside of the singer now had one of their members gone. So that happens, and I was like, oh shit. Then they announced that they have the new bassist and they're going to carry on, but they won't be touring anymore for the foreseeable future for the next few years. And when I heard that, that almost prompted me to make a video last year when Thomas said that about is Nightwish possibly going to cease uh, working as a musical unit? Are they going to break up? But then I saw another article that said, no, we're not breaking up. We signed another deal with the label for another couple of albums, so we'll be working for the better part of the next decade on the records, such and such. So I said, okay, fine. But when the singles dropped, and you add that up with how bad the last album was, maybe they should call it quits. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't. They're one of my favorite bands. Look, if there's anybody that's gonna do this kind of metal, this subgenre, symphonic metal, it's Nightwish. I mean, they are the godfathers of the genre. It's like them, Epica, Therion, maybe a Xandria, like a other small few handful of bands that really pioneered this subgenre of metal that mixes classical music and opera with metal aesthetics. But I mean, just because they're one of the pioneers and forefathers of it doesn't necessarily mean that things won't get stale every once in a while. And I think that after 20 something years, well, I guess it hasn't been 20 years, it's been 30. Because the first album came out in 95, 95, 05, 15. Yeah, the next year will be 30 years since their first album. Which, by the way, I didn't think their first album was anything special, but that's another story for another day. My point is, after 3 decades, they were bound to get stuck in a rut somewhere along the way. So, I hope they can see that and course correct before there's too many bad projects behind them. You know what I mean? Like, we have Human to Nature, and that's... I don't... To me, that album's a mess. That's one of their worst albums since the albums with Annette. Like, that's just what I think. I'm hoping I'm going to be wrong about the new album. I'm hoping that Yesterwind ends up being a classic Nightwish album. I really do. I mean, they're one of my favorite bands. Thomas is one of my favorite writers and composers. I like everyone in the band. I think they all bring something unique to the table. But only time is going to tell. And if this album ends up being bad, then, you know, what are the chances that they'll course correct after 2 terrible albums? Maybe not likely. Metallica hasn't been able to fully come back from that with Load and Reload. Yeah, Death Magnetic was better, but then they go back to Hardwired, Self-Destruct, and 72 Seasons, and are those really Metallica albums, or are they just generic metal albums with Metallica's name on it? No offense. I love Metallica, but let's be real. I just don't want to see Nightwish going down the same road. I just hope that they can course correct before things get too out of hand. But I could be completely wrong, and I'm hoping I am. I'm hoping Yesterwind is a classic album, and that we can look back on this in another 10 years or so, or even another 5 years, and say, you know what? They did a really good job here. And especially with having this new bassist, I'm hoping that maybe that pumps a little bit of rejuvenation into the lineup. I mean, not that things were getting stale with Marco. I mean, we all know Marco was a staple of the band, and he's a Finnish legend. I mean, he was in Turo years before Nightwish was even existed. But we'll just have to wait and see. Now, for the Nightwish fans out there, I'd like to hear your opinion on how you feel things are going with the band and this phase that they're in. What did you think about Human to Nature? What do you think about the Perfume of the Timeless single and the one that just came out a few days ago? Do you think they're good? Do you think they're bad? Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Are you somewhere in the middle? I just would like to hear your general opinions if you feel comfortable sharing. If not, that's alright too. But No, I do these videos in hopes that we can start a conversation about some of these topics, at least amongst the fan bases that are pertaining to the subject that I'm doing the video on. So anyone who wants to leave a comment, please do so, and I will respond, I promise. Um, so this video was not scripted. I just had been thinking about this for the last week or so, and when the other video dropped the other day, the other single, I thought, you know what, let me just go and record my thoughts and just see what comes of it. I'll just be 100% unedited. So I don't know, I'm going to try and do more videos like this if I feel that there's a topic that I'm pondering I'm really passionate about or really thinking hard on critically. I would try and do these videos that don't have scripts and just see what happens. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to say. So, to all the Nightwish fans, I would love to hear your opinion. Are you planning to support the new album? Are you not going to support it? Are you still listening to them today? Have you been listening to them their entire career, or did you give up years ago during the singer changes? I know there are some people who haven't listened past the era with Tarja. Some people thought Annette was the best singer. That's not me. And then a lot of people like Floor. Personally, I like the first and the last. But, you know, I'm not ready to give up on the band. It's going to take quite a bit more for me to be like, okay, I'm done. But still, doesn't look like the brightest road if they continue to go in this direction. But just leave your opinion, let me know. And until next time, everyone, take care of yourselves and each other.